at 4:00 p.m. Item number 2 is roll call. Starting my right, please.
Weisinger here.
Gabriel here.
Janzek here.
Baker,
Jamadi here.
Capel here.
Commissioner Dilge has been excused. Also present are Support Specialist Taylor Oshinsky and Town Attorney Nick Flanagan. Item number 3 is certify the posting of the agenda.
I certify that on Monday, March 11th, 2024, the agenda for the Town of Rome Plan Commission meeting for Tuesday, March 12th, 2024 was posted at the following locations: Rome Town Hall at 12:55, Quick Trip LLC at 5:35, and Nakusa Port Edward State Bank at 5:40. It was also emailed to the Wisconsin Rapids Tribune on the 4th, on March 4th. The legal notice was published in the Wisconsin Rapids Tribune on February 28th and on March 5th.
Thank you. Item number 4 is to approve the agenda.
I'll move to approve the agenda with the following changes: that we move discussion and possible action item number 14 and 15 after number 9 in the discussion and possible action items. That would be moving up the short-term rental items prior to all of the site plan of operation items.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, a motion on the floor by Lori, seconded by Bill, to take items 14 and 15, which are short-term rental discussions, and move that up to a place after number 9. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 5 is a citizen comment portion of the agenda. During the citizen comment period of the agenda, the Plan Commission welcomes comments from any town resident not a member of the commission on any item not on the agenda. Please note that pursuant to state law, the commission cannot engage in conversation with you, but may ask questions. The commission may refer the item to staff, a standing committee, or a future Plan Commission agenda for discussion and action. Each person wishing to speak will have up to 3 minutes to speak. Speakers are asked to submit a card to the chair, providing their name, address, and topic for discussion. I believe there was 3 cards, Nick, did you say were submitted?
The only citizen comments were agenda items, and those were all provided to you.
Okay. Then 5A, the commission will also take comment from the public on an agenda item as called by the chair, but not during the citizen comment portion. Please note that once the commission begins discussion on an agenda item, no further comment will be allowed from the public on that issue. And the next section is no action contemplated except possible referral to a future agenda. Number 6, information updates, recent correspondence, current events, and announcements. Does anyone have anything that they wish to bring forward?
I have some items.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Okay.
go ahead, please.
The first one, there has been a rollout of the initial zoning hub. Residents, visitors, and real estate agents can go out and start checking this out. It is on the town website. On the main page, it's one of the lower tabs on the right-hand side. All you need to do is put in your parcel number or your address. It says Find My Zoning. And with that, you can find everything that does apply to the lot that you live on or you are planning on purchasing. It's very helpful. And Taylor also is using this, as well as others, to get all of the information that you need pertaining to your parcel. Also, I'd like to say that we have posted new hours for the zoning. They are extended. Previously, the building inspector with limited zoning was only here for limited hours from 8:30 to 10, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That now has been extended to daily hours, Monday through Friday, 8 to noon, with appointments in the afternoon. Camping permits are available Monday and Wednesday from 8 to 4 p.m. in person, or noon from 8 to noon, or Thursday 8 to noon. So I wanted to share that information as well.
Okay, anything else, Lori?
Nope, that's all I have. Thank you.
Gentlemen, anything?
No.
Okay. Then item number 7 is to open the public hearing. 7A, consideration of a revised site plan of operation for Heartland Custom Homes Incorporated to adjust building orientation and occupy tenant at the property address of 1144 County Road D, also described as Lot 1 of CSM 6905, located in the southwest one quarter of the northeast one quarter, Section 8, Town 20 North, Range 6 East, Town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, parcel number of 030-637-20. Nick?
Thank you. Applicant Heartland Custom Homes Incorporated requests approval for a revision to their site plan of operation for the property located at 1144 County Highway D. Applicant received approval of their original site plan of operation for a multi-tenant building on June 15th, 2023. Applicants proposed an adjustment to the orientation of the building on the parcel. Additionally, the updated site plan shows proposed landscape areas and sign location. Finally, applicants will be the first tenant of the building and plans to use approximately 1,200 square feet of the space for showroom and small office space. An updated site plan of operation review application, checklist, supplemental information, associated map and renderings are all included in your packet. For reference, the last approved site plan of operation from June 2023 is included in your packet. That was included so you could see the conditions that were placed. A copy of the conditions associated with those approval are on that, and letters were sent to 3 property owners within 200 feet of the affected property.
Thank you. Someone for Heartland Farms? I think I saw you with your back on your t-shirt when you walked in. Heartland Homes, I'm sorry. Yeah, Heartland Farms is a whole different operation, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm Will from Heartland Custom Homes. As Nick stated, we had a approved plan originally from last year, from June of '23, and since we've acquired some additional land, some acreage there to make the site more usable, more user-friendly, and more appealing. So we changed the orientation of the 2 buildings to send them east and west lengthwise across the lot, and should make it easier for traffic flow.
Excuse me, is that red light on up there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Didn't sound like it.
And yeah, better traffic flow, some more space, leaves a lot more green space on the property. It's going to be able to allow us to leave a lot more trees on the property. So as you can see, what's there now. So.
Okay. Commissioners?
Is the construction that's going on there, is that based on the old plan or the new one?
So the buildings are the same,
The orientation of the buildings aren't,
but the orientations are not. So
is the excavation that's started already?
Yep. So the excavation is done as the new orientation is.
So you decided to go ahead even though you haven't had approval?
We haven't started any concrete or.
But there is excavation going on?
Yep. Which is not needed. There's no permit needed to.
Excavate? No, there's not.
Correct.
You have changed the size though, and the square footage of the buildings. I've
Yep.
noticed in the site plan of operation, you've changed the size and the square footage of the buildings.
Yeah, so the exact size of the building is 110 by 50, and both buildings are gonna be built the same.
But they're not as high, and the dimensions are a little different too.
Yep, correct.
Okay. And it also, I noticed that the parking is gonna be quite a bit more, and the outside events, it looks like that's changed also. It says frequency is now, outside events are 1 to 3 annually versus daily bar and restaurant. Could you maybe elaborate a little bit, please?
So that would be, like we've talked about with having a commercial space for lease, with any business that would want to come in and lease, they would have to propose their own plan of operation.
Okay.
So that would be something under their plan of operation. As far as for our buildings and for what we are doing, we're not planning to have any bar or restaurant through us.
All right.
That's just if there was that opportunity for someone, that would be beyond them.
All right, and then under lighting, outdoor lighting, you have 4 poles, and then it says parking lot. And then you had, on your original site plan, you had exterior of the building. So have you changed your lighting plan? What you had planned to have on the exterior of the buildings, or you're just gonna have it in the parking lot? Are you
So
having that in it?
there's-
Cause you didn't really submit a lighting plan per se as to what you wanted to have in the original buildings.
Right. I didn't see anywhere where it needed to submit a lighting plan, but yes, there's gonna be lighting in the parking lot, and then, of course, lighting on the building where there's an active business.
you acquired more land?
Yep.
In which direction?
To the east.
To the east, so back behind you, so to
Yep.
speak, away from the road.
Yep. So our building is still within 200 feet, it's still in the gateway. Everything is in compliance of gateway at this time, so still recognizing that and being attentive to the gateway.
Okay, and based on the lease space that you have 5 units in one and 2 large in the other. And this dumpster area here is going to be for all of those units.
Yep, so those units, the buildings are gonna be erected, but not until we know what that lease looks like. So it's subject to change, you know, per the needs of the tenant. So we kinda gave you 2 different options of like what it may look like, what it could be. But like I said, and you guys have asked, that any business going in would have to do their own plan of operation, which would also include what square footage they're using.
So what you're building is a shell,
Yep.
and then you can finish it out as
Yep.
you want.
Yep, so we're not gonna finish anything until we have a tenant so that we can build to their needs instead of doing it twice.
So Nick, I'm gonna ask you a question then. So would when they come in for their own site plan of operation for each rental unit, do they each come forward with their own?
Yeah, they would probably, based off of that
Dumpster,
comment, they
yeah.
would probably accompany that with some kind of, design, component, if this is going to be designed, you know, kind of, as, you know, as leased, right? You know, it sounds like as the lease was entered into, they'll design the space and fill a portion of that building. You would probably wanna put in, during an approval, the requirement that they, get the approval of the plan commission, which you already had, but maybe, also just a reference that, since these are, you know, basically unfinished at this point and may be designed according to the, tenant, that site plan also accompany with it, or some kind of design plan for the interior space.
I was, not only the interior space, but I was referring to the dumpster area and refuge containers in the back. I mean, who's
Sure.
ultimately responsible for that? The owner of the building or the renter?
I would say the owner of the building would be ultimately responsible for that.
Where do you propose the septic system is gonna be placed on this map?
So we do have a sanitary septic that's approved by the county. There's gonna be 2 different septic units, systems. One is gonna be along the north end of the property, between the parking and the north property lot line. And then one will be between the buildings and Highway 13, going north and south.
Then we should update his site plan of operation, because under item 21, it says town sewer. It doesn't say private septic.
Right,
You're looking at the old one.
Yeah,
I'm looking at,
that was the one from
The old one.
23.
The new one says
2023.
Pouts to be
we
installed
haven't-
by Best Excavating.
sorry, so many,
It was submitted, it gives you an opportunity to compare the old with the new.
okay, I see my mistake, sorry.
So as far as glass and that kind of thing goes in your renderings, that's gonna be fixed, only your internal walls will change, is that what you're doing?
Yep, as far as when it comes to, build out for any lease, that the interior is gonna be the only thing that's changing. The exterior is gonna remain the same. We do have it set up where we can have, if it be garage door on the front, I know the current plan just shows it on the end, but, yeah, that would, not gonna change the look, and if it is something that's different, it would have to come through as their plan of operation or additional change.
So your elevations are true.
Yep.
So this is what it's going to look like for certain,
Yes.
not this. 'Cause this was what's been
Yep,
advertised.
so those are 2 different renderings that we have
Okay.
to meet
Alright,
tenants.
alright. And then this is the sign you're gonna have on the doors
Yep,
for now.
for now. I understand that if we were to do anything different with the signage, we would have to do a new sign application and
Right.
show all the differences and changes that would be for a sign.
The building's gonna be black?
It's a darker color, like a canyon color for the accent wall on the corner there. But it's more of a darker smoky color. Gray.
And the glazing will be, the aluminum glazing?
Yep.
Will match or
Uh,
no contrast?
yeah, yep. So the aluminum glazing, I don't believe that's gonna be anodized of any color, so as of right now, it would just be that aluminum.
I believe you submitted your materials the first time, your first app. Are those the same materials then?
Same as what we're planning on, and I can't even remember what they all are from this point.
But you don't plan on changing them?
Nope. Oh, I know we had Canyon LP siding on that, accent wall on the outside, and then the rest of the building is steel.
Do we have those written down anywhere with the original plans?
I'd have to go back and look.
In your previous application, you did indicate, like, one of the commissioners had mentioned that the possible bar restaurant operation. Have you been approached by anybody at this point to operate anything like that?
There's been conversations about it, but nothing is set in stone. There's no letter of intent at this point for a bar or restaurant.
Okay.
We do know that the liquor license would play in a factor with that, and that's all on whoever would be the tenant. They would have to work through those details.
Correct.
We did get a sign off from the fire chief now with better access with that
Yep,
easement through the bank.
yep, Mark was happy with that,
Okay.
plenty of room.
We can check that off, okay.
Is there a landscape plan or am I missing it?
We have,
There's a landscape plan with the new site plan. There's some existing trees that can stay on the lot.
is this what you're saying is your landscape plan?
Yep, existing trees, we have retention areas. And there should be a note on there giving some more detail on what some of those landscape materials might be. I believe we had
Yeah, it says
listed some,
Native grasses and shrubs. And
yep, some
other-
natives.
I don't remember seeing that.
This one here?
That one, yeah.
I know, I didn't see that.
Commissioners, any other questions at this point? Okay.
Let's see, just a minute here.
So there is no landscaping going right adjacent to any of the entrances to the building or off of the parking lot?
Directly to the entrance, no. There's gonna be existing trees on both sides of the entrance when you come in, when you pull in. There's gonna be retention area on both sides, but as far as native grasses and shrubs, the natural landscape that's there is gonna remain.
And the plan is then to are you gonna remove the existing building that's there? Or is that gonna stay?
The existing building has been removed a couple
I
years.
drive by it every day and didn't notice it.
It's been gone quite a while.
Couple years ago. That's okay.
Wow.
No worries, Mike.
Just too focused on getting here, I guess, tonight.
Happens to us all.
Yeah, there wasn't much left of what was there.
Anything else, commissioners? Okay. There you go. Okay.
I'm good for now, thank you, sir.
7B.
Whoop, we got
Chairman.
public.
I'm sorry, does anybody here want to speak either in favor of this project or against this project? I see no hands. Okay, thank you.
Now you
Thank
can
you,
go for it.
appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Jerry.
Will.
7B, consideration of a site plan of operation for Barnum Bay Beach and Marina LLC for the property located on Archer Lane, also described as Lot 1, CSM 4670, located in Government Lot 2 of Section 28, Town 20 North, Range 5 East, Town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, parcel number 030-408-15. Nick?
Applicant Barnum Bay Beach and Marina LLC has submitted a site plan of operation for operation of a campground at the 6.38 acre parcel located at Archer Lane, parcel number 3040815. At the February 21st, 2024 meeting, the Plan Commission approved applicant's conditional use permit with 14 conditions. List of those conditions, one of which included a requirement for a complete campground map, is included in your packet. Town Code Article 26 sets forth requirements for a site plan of operation for new business development and associated development and design standards. Additionally, under Town Code Section 247-4, campground license must be obtained from the town, and campground permit issued and obtained from Wisconsin Department of Safety and Professional Services. Included in your packet materials is the proposed campground map, site plan of operation application, checklist, associated renderings, and campground license application. Letters were sent to 18 property owners within 200 feet of the affected property.
Thank you. Mark?
Aye.
Aye.
Do you have questions based on this updated map? We have this updated, it reflects all of the requirements from the conditional use. We narrowed it down to 30 pads. Everything fits in the setback. We did speak a little bit with Taylor. I believe this map doesn't yet show electrical or septic because we were told those can't make a decision until they know where the roads and the pads are going to be. So we're hoping to have at least this map approved. We also had some discussion about the drainage runoff for the DNR and the power company, and the state has essentially said they will figure out where to put the drainage swales, drainage retention area once the map is done and they can get out there and walk the site once the road is in to make an assessment, but they'll keep it on our side of the lot lines. So,
The map was supposed to have dimensions. There's no dimensions on this whatsoever. The campsites are not denoted as to the size. As far as I'm concerned, it's a very inadequate map. There's no place for the septic system.
I don't know what he's,
I don't know what map you have, we sent,
I know the map,
we
that-
emailed the map, the septic, well,
they don't have the one.
they don't, Taylor, Jeanette, they don't have the updated map that I emailed you guys?
Which one is
That
it?
is-
The,
Yeah, that's it, pump station,
Doesn't show the septic field, does it?
because we're just doing a dump station as of now, and map site and
Yep.
sites there, that's what they were.
The dump station has to be hooked to a septic.
I'm sorry?
Dump station has to be hooked to a septic.
Correct, correct.
And as I said, Garrison's can't tell us where the field will go until they know where the road will go.
And Garrison can't get in there to do, what do you call it? Their dig,
The
or
perk.
perk testing until there's trees for it, moved for him to get to the grounds to do perk testing.
And that, the box in the top right corner, as you look at it, does say what the max and min dimensions will be for those pads, so that they are all within the boundaries.
Can I go, Mike?
Sure.
At the other meeting, the Plan Commission was told that these would be full hookup sites. Now at this meeting, we're being told that there's only going to be a dump station. Now, I'm a bit confused.
Well,
Talked about sewer, water, and electrical to each campsite. And now, if I just heard you correctly, we have one dump station.
so what we discussed is our goal would be to have that to every site. No, that's what we've said. And the question would be, can we do it with the space we have? I'm not sure if we will be able to fit enough septic for every unit to be fully hooked up. And originally, that wasn't even the plan. We showed that all of the RV sites would have hookups, and all of the tiny home sites or the cabins, camping sites were not going to. We said there would be no generators. We said there would be power. We said there would be water available. This still fits with everything we have told you from the beginning. It's slightly pared down because I'm working in a smaller envelope right now. But it fits all of the conditional uses that were put on it.
I don't believe it does. I believe that the Plan Commission asked for full hookups to all sites. And if I'm wrong, then somebody correct me. It's not the first time in my life. But
That is what we were told, yes, and that's what we asked for.
because without full hookups, we run the risk of people pulling the gray water plug in the campsite area, which is not kosher to any groundwater area. Because I remember bringing it to your attention that if you want to keep this open year-round, how are you gonna run water to these sites and stuff? And you said, well, they wouldn't have water. They'd still have electricity in the wintertime.
Right.
But I was not under the impression that we were looking at a campground with one dump station, my opinion.
Can I speak on this? Taylor, also, what, I believe we had that conversation. A lot of this is subject to change. We are, again, you guys have put us in a position to where, again, Garrison, we're just trying to give you a map. A lot of this is probably gonna change maybe 5 more times, but until we can get approval to clear, Garrison can't tell us where even a septic or multiple septics, which were proposed to him, which he had proposed to us. But with the shrinkage and everything else now, until the property can be staked out by, Badger, Garrison to get in there and do his testing, there's a lot of unknowns until we can get in there. And until we get approval, I mean, if we can get the septic away and get in and move it, then we're back to our original conversation. But, again, I've let Taylor know that we need some leeway here because of the fact of the shrinkage. The well really don't know where they can go. The sewer really don't know until they can get in there now. Things are gonna change. I mean, we are totally understanding that there's probably gonna be multiple meetings of, I don't know what you call it, change, scope of work change, just because we can't get perk tests. We can't get anything inside.
I don't believe there's any reason you can't go in and clear the road out. If that's where you want to have the road, you can clear that. You don't need approval. to do it.
There's a misunderstanding and conversation on that then.
Yeah, we've been told,
Not to
don't
touch the
start
thing.
clearing because you may not approve it.
Well, it's a chance.
So, at
Yeah,
this
but
point, we
they-
need to know what we are allowed to have so that we can go to the next step.
I believe they can do a perk test on this drawing, and you can show us where the septic systems are gonna go. You want us to approve a drawing with this full crowd here on the plan commission's back and to say that, well, if it works out, we'll do the septic, but if it doesn't work out, we're not gonna do it. I can't cast a vote in favor of that.
Neither can I.
Well, what we're saying right now is that there will be a dump station and it will be connected to a septic. The septic is still to be determined based on where it will fit. And they can't tell us where it'll fit until you tell us where the road's allowed to be and where the pads are allowed to be.
Well, if I see your side, but now see our side. If you came to us with a complete drawing showing us where the septic would be, it'd be a lot easier. I have developed numerous properties. They can still go on that property with a small excavator and do a perk test. They can still, a surveyor can put flags all through that property to show where the road is. Septic company can still come in and pull core samples. You're asking us to approve sites in a campground with a road that we don't know if can have septic system. That's just my, septic, water, and electrical, I believe, was a criteria in the beginning. So, I don't know where this leaves this, but you can see the plan commissioner side, we gotta know what's going on before we can say it's okay. And this is just showing us a road and some sites. But we don't know how the sites are gonna be serviced. I'm done.
Well, I agree with you, Tom. That all, the perk test and all that can be done. That timber is not that close in there. I mean, you go through the mini excavator or whatever and get in there and do the testing. You got the map, they should be able to know where to start checking.
Well, we don't have the map is the problem.
Well, you do. You have one you presented here. You know where you want to put the road. One other thing on here that you failed to do is put trees on the south side of this where it adjoins residential property. Trees, buffer.
Those are, that's not the, no, what he's saying right here. That's not the road where it was required. That was, we were told they have to front all of the road.
I don't think we ever said just road.
Well, that's what we were told based on the code and how it was written.
I think it was in the setback area is what we said, and you got a setback area down there, the same as you do for a road, because it's commercial property next to a residential property. Setback is not only the road, it's on the backside also. Also a suggestion, because I've built some properties too, you're gonna put screening up with, I would assume, pine trees. Keep them, stagger them between the front and back one, similar to what you did here partway with some of the existing trees, but the existing trees are nothing but a post. They aren't gonna provide any screening, but 2 rows and stagger them in between. As they grow up, it's gonna create a solid screening barrier there. Several places you got one pine right behind another pine, so that doesn't do much.
Can you explain again to me what the issue is with the DNR and the water runoff belonging to onto the property or whatever for Wisconsin Power Company? What's happening with that again?
Yeah, so originally, the plan as written, the DNR thought it would work better to have the drainage, water retention areas kind of on the south edge of this, closest to our parking lot and the boat landing. For the water retention area to be on the power company land.
Okay.
The power company said essentially they aren't open to that unless the state writes them a letter as to why they think it needs to be there versus on our land. The state said they don't think they want to write that letter, my understanding, and, they said they can make it work on our side. So, again, said they will do it after the fact, once they know where everything is. They were out here this week,
Wednesday.
they were out here Wednesday, this past week, and, walked everything and said, yeah, we can make it work on your land, we just need to know where everything's going to be, and then they'll make their final decisions.
I need clarification on this map. This lot one, is that not the Ripco land? Lot one, and then the outlot, what is the outlot one?
Outlot one for.
I'm not
belongs to
asking you,
Village
sir.
Farm.
I'm sorry, I'm not speaking to you. I'm asking our town attorney or the other commissioners.
They can answer for you, great.
Nick, on the map.
That area is it, belongs to the condo association. It's a buffer area in between
I
their
believe
property.
that lot one is what we found out is part of Ripco, is it not today? That's why that's an issue with the stormwater management?
No, I think the issue for the, stormwater management is over to this side of the map.
It's this
Right,
corner.
so now we're looking at a
This
different one
corner
than
here
he's
and
got
this corner.
there. That one's glossy, this one's different.
Okay. So I don't know what map you're looking at.
Alright, so then this must,
Looks like this.
alright, so the lot one. So there's really, where else are these to put trees in there, in that little triangle behind those two right there? Is that where you want more trees?
No, all along below the red line
No, she's not.
in lot one.
lot one?
Excuse me, above the red line, not below.
She said ours is glossier, but
That's a setback area. That's required when you have commercial property joining
I
residential.
understand that, Jerry, but who owns that?
The lot one is owned by the condo association.
Alright, so you want them to go on the condo association and
No.
put trees in there?
No, that setback area in between there. You see the 50 foot is marked out?
Right,
That's a setback area. That's
Right.
where you should be putting a vegetation barrier.
In other words, bringing it around the corner.
Right, around the corner.
they already have trees.
But this is owned by, the condo association.
Right.
So are they, so that area between the red line and the green line for lot one?
Right,
That's a setback area
right.
for,
Oh, okay.
for the campground.
Right,
And that's what we asked for is, vegetation screening in the setback area.
And then the stretch below that red line is what's owned by the condominium association.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Commissioners, other questions for, Mark?
Yes, on your, site plan of operation checklist, here, your supplemental one, on the first one, there were a few things that were a little different, that you'll need to complete. We could probably even, Nick, would we go through that now, or would they do that prior to some of these questions that I have on here? I know it was submitted with the first one, but they were missed on this one. It is on the map here with traffic flow, outdoor lighting, I know we touched on, it was part of some of the, let's see here, the attachments with the conditions that some people receive before even the plan commissioners even had a chance to look at it and review it, or I believe you even had a chance to sign it and see it. Some of these need to be completed. If we could just maybe talk through a couple of these, I could question you on them. Let's see here. We do know what the traffic flow is already. We do know what the outdoor lighting is. I think we would probably want you to go exactly with what it is for B1, which would be according to what our design standards are in our zoning code, which is, 360, 131, sub A and E. Also for signage, we talked about that. For refuse containers, you already have that on your map.
Yes.
It's completed on the site map. We would wanna make sure that you complete that on the application. There is one on here about a commercial, transfer site permit. You didn't circle that, so you'd want that updated. Fencing and screening, we've already discussed that. That's in your attachment here. So you would have needed to have circled yes. We've already dealt with that. That's in your conditions. Surface water drainage, you're dealing with that. Let's see. Those were just some of the questions that I had, that we would probably put that in our findings of fact when we, discuss it later at the time. Of discussion and action. But those were just some of the things that we missed that were discussed though at the first public hearing and when the conditional use permit was agreed to, so. Thank you.
Other questions, commissioners? Comments? Okay. All right, I will ask then, is anybody here in the audience in favor of this campground, wants to speak?
I do.
Jerry, he did say in favor of.
In favor?
Oh, in favor.
Well, we'll give you a first crack at the next one then. I didn't expect to see
I was
too many hands
surprised.
go up. Those of you then that wish to speak against this proposed campground, Jerry?
Do I have a time limit?
I don't,
Asking. I'm just asking.
I thought it was just 3 minutes on a comment portion of the,
Oh,
There's-
5
there-
minutes then for the other portion.
5 minutes?
go ahead.
It's up to you, your call, you're the chair.
Just, we have,
I'll do my best.
okay.
All right? To clarify on your map,
Could you tell us who you are?
I'm Jerry Iverson. I'm the vice president of the Village of Barnum Bay Condominium Association. I live at 1711 Archer Lane, Unit 9. On your map, our Lot 1 does not belong to the Village of Barnum Bay. I don't know who that belongs to. I'm assuming it belongs to the Lure, otherwise known as Barnum Bay Beach and Marina. The Outlot 1 is our property, okay? So Lot 1 is part of that 6.38 acre parcel. Outlot 1 belongs to us, okay? Just for clarification. I'm gonna read through some things that our president, Leslie Fairchild, had sent to all of you as plan commissioners this morning, but I want to go through it so that it is on the public record. And then I do have some questions. Maybe you'll have some questions. We'll see what we do. So, the Board of Directors of the Village of Barnum Bay Condominium Association, representing the 21 property owners of the association, continue our opposition to the development of a campground on the parcel identified above. We have a shared property line and are concerned about direct access, exposure, and increased liability to our property, our trailer alleyway, which I had just described, and our community pool, as well as the potential impacts to our neighborhood and the town of Rome. After reviewing the updated material provided, we have the following concerns and questions. Specific to the proposed plan, so this is a site plan that is part of the packet. There are no revised building plans. There is no septic plan, which has been discussed. There is no landscape plan. There is no signage plan. When you look at attachment A, item 1, the plan was to include waste disposal systems, recreation areas, if there's gonna be any, and proposed landscaping. So, Commissioners, that alone, I propose to you that it is an incomplete site plan. And if you can approve an incomplete site plan, God bless you. The water runoff, which has been discussed, so the map here is no longer in good standing. Regardless, on that site or on that stormwater plan, if you look where the retention pond closest to our property, as it's depicted on that stormwater plan, it does exceed the property limits at 6.38 acre. And as it currently is depicted, it also resides within the 50-foot setback that has been established. So that needs to be addressed. RV sites appear as varying in sizes, and they are marked on the site plan. What's not marked on the site plan is which pads are designated for the luxury park models, if and when that ever comes to fruition. On the application itself, and Commissioner Giamatti has addressed some of this, attention is needed for items 4, 14, 15, 18, 23, 25, and item 20 on the application needs to be updated. We share a property line, and we have a 50-foot setback as set by the conditional use permit issued on the February of 21. February 21st, 2024, excuse me. The setback is expected to provide visual and physical separation from the campsites for both shared property lines and roadways. We ask earthen berms with dense coverage. 6-foot vegetation screening starting at the setback is desired to ensure this separation. No parking, driving, or camper usage in the setback area. This needs to be informed by signage and campsite usage rules. Existing trees in the setback should be preserved to the greatest extent possible. The water runoff catch areas, as they are depicted right now, provide no visual barriers and should be moved out of the setback area. Some clarifications that we ask for on the application, it says short-term RV rental. Exactly what does that mean? We're assuming that it is less than 30 days. We recommend that it be included in the campground conditions, attachment A, and provide procedures to ensure compliance. Application indicates initial plan is to build the infrastructure for the RV pads, then well and septic, then pump house with bathrooms and showers. Is this still the intention? If so, provide timing of each phase and the conditions that escalate, delay, or cancel this timing. Cabin rentals are not currently included on the plan. However, they are referenced in attachment A, and that goes back to my previous comment about designating which of those pads are going to be identified for the luxury park models. The term upscale campsites has been mentioned numerous times over the course of several meetings. We would like to understand what is meant by that. What is the definition of a luxury park model or a upscale campsite? So, also in Leslie Fairchild's email to you as a plan commission, she identified certain areas within Town Code 360-27, Section G, subparagraph G4. It's the effects of the proposed use on both on-site and off-site traffic safety and efficiency, including parking. The site plan supports 30 motorhomes, recreational vehicles, and camping trailers within the confined space, with the potential for an additional 30 to 50 plus cars, 30 to 50 plus ATVs and or UTVs, as well as boats and jet skis on trailers. This could result in 100 to 150 plus vehicles. Where will all these vehicles go? Concerned they will spill over onto Archer Lane, other streets, potential neighborhood properties. The number of sites should be reduced, the parking spots should be increased, And it seems inappropriate that sites are situated both inside and outside the roadway, given the limited space. There are several endangered species, excuse me. So impact on environment, which is subparagraph 6 of the code. Effects of the proposed use on the natural environment with the potential of 100 to 150 plus vehicles on 6 acres, and impact studies should be required. There are several endangered species within this area. Special consideration was needed when the power company and gas company perform work in the areas. As such, we feel a environmental impact should be done here. Water contamination also needs to be considered, given the potential for so many vehicles. Item G7 of the code, impact on neighborhood. Effects of proposed use on surrounding properties, including neighborhood character, operational considerations relating to hours of operation, and creation of potential nuisances. In attachment A, you did identify the quiet hours. However, if you're not aware, there is now an event tent on the property, not the campsite per se, but the property of the Barnum Bay, or the lure. So the intent is to have special events there, such as bands, live bands and such. Are they gonna be allowed to play past 10 o'clock? Something for you to consider. So we feel it is the duty of the Plan Commission to ensure an unmanageable situation is not created via the proposed campground. At a minimum, an updated plan and application is needed. Additional details to ensure the 50-foot setback supports visual and physical separation for shared property lines should be added to the campground conditions. Clarification should be provided for other key terms. A number of sites should be reduced, and ideally the campground should be put on hold until an impact study can be conducted to include environmental, traffic, parking, and people impacts. So some of the other points that I want to make here, as Commissioner Wiesinger identified, there is no screening depicted on the map on the south side of the campground in that 50-foot setback area. Unless I'm not looking at the correct map, but this is the map that came with the packet. So that needs to be corrected. And then I already asked which pads are designated for luxury park models. Couple other comments that I have, and although not directly related to the campground itself, they are related to the function and the operation of the lure itself.
No, I think, Jerry, we need to stick just basically to the campground,
Okay?
and not anything surrounding that.
Okay, all right, I can do that. I know you're not at this agenda item yet, but when it comes time to approve your minutes from the February 21st meeting, there is going to be one correction needed, if I can speak to that in the minutes.
We will, I'll call on you then when that approval of minutes comes up.
Okay, all right. Any questions for me?
Just one comment of clarification. You mentioned the park models that they had talked about renting out, but we had covered that in the conditions that said they cannot rent out anything other than cabins. Rental, all lodging shall be only from cabins, so they cannot put a park model in there to rent it out.
So out of these 30 sites, we're not gonna have any park models or permanent structures?
Unless it's a cabin built on a foundation.
Okay, well, cabin. So which
So that's-
one of these 30 are gonna be cabins?
That's the way that's the way we set up the conditions.
Yeah.
As it sits now, none of them would be cabins, and none of them would be park models that would stay there permanently.
So you're telling me, Tom, that none of these are gonna be cabins?
None of these are gonna be cabins. We have not been presented anything with cabins,
They could be, but they haven't been.
Okay?
and none of them will be park models that sit there for rent.
What's the difference between a park model and a cabin?
Nick looked up the state. Oh, a park model and a cabin would have a footing. It would be able to be inspected, just like any other short-term rental.
Okay?
A park model, we cannot get the inspections, and it's a campground. I think I brought this up at the last meeting too, that I had an issue with campground and tiny homes or park models. As it was presented, the camper has to be, I believe they have to be less than 40 feet to be towed down the street and so many feet wide. They would have to have a license plate on them. An RV or a travel trailer. RV would be one that you drive. A travel trailer would be one that you pull behind your vehicle.
Right.
And they would leave with the person that rented the site.
Just so I understand, he's got 30 sites here. And are we to understand that they are all RV sites? There are no cabins gonna be placed on any one of these pads?
They could if they come back with another revised use, plan showing a cabin.
Okay.
They can't put them on there until it shows a cabin, cause it's a
So
structure.
they have to come back with a revised site plan? Okay.
The way I understand this is these are sites to be rented, and you will bring your own camper with you, and you will leave with your camper.
Okay. What about permanent sites?
They have indicated they're not gonna have permanent sites.
That's what I was gonna say. We were told there'd be no permanent sites.
Right.
Okay? Should that be a condition?
I believe it's in there.
I didn't bring my bifocals.
Mine aren't very good. I can't find it this second. I thought we had covered that, though.
While Jerry's looking for that, what about screening? What is your definition of screening, other than it's gotta be 6 foot at planting? Should we, or not we, but should you define that as to what the screening should be?
Normally, it's pine trees in 2 rows and staggered so that as they fill out, they basically complete a complete screen across there.
Do you feel that needs to be defined?
Well, it
So
should be
that-
on a landscaping plan, yes. It's gotta be on, I mean,
There is no landscaping plan.
well, they're showing trees on there.
They're showing trees on here,
Yep.
right there.
I see that. There are no trees on the south side of the site plan.
It's not shown there, correct. We already brought that up to them.
But that's one question I do have, because if you've now stated and clarified that this is their land here, and you have an outlot there, they've got the 50-foot buffer. They've already put the trees here, so there's trees here that won't be cleared away. So there's 50 feet here. What is it, measurement? So what are you asking for here now? More? You're asking for more when there's already a buffer here?
There is no
The buffer
there.
area, there's no trees in the buffer area shown.
Alright, so, but there's there's land here, there's trees, there's some trees there, are there not?
There's trees all the way around.
Archer too.
They're red pines, and they have no, do not make a screen. All you got is posts.
I understand that, I drove around and through there several times again to look at it, but the two homes that do, there's like a corner of the one home that's there. I mean, I understand the concern, but if there's some trees there already, they've been looking at that area already for a very long time, and there's corner windows there. What, I mean,
There's trees by Archer too.
Hang on, please.
yeah, please, I'm asking the fellow commissioners, how much more, of a buffer, how many more trees do you want them to put in there, just to cover up those 3 campers that may or may not go in there? Have you taken a ride down there to look at this site?
Many times, many
Yes, so
times.
have I. So have I. So, and I'm sure, so I'm just saying, there's quite a bit of land there. There's a boat landing there, there's boat traffic, there's a boat parking lot, and there's a corner of a home with several windows. I understand the concern, but how many trees are we going to ask them to put in there as well? Again, remember, we have to be, I just keep looking at the laws too that govern us by putting these conditions on there. They have to be reasonable.
The trees that are there will not provide any screening. I mean, they'll
understand
see
that.
right
They're
through
the
and see the
same-
campers.
I understand, they're the same trees that have been there forever.
Right.
Blocking a parking lot, blocking boats that drive around there, I'm just saying. They have to be reasonable conditions.
I think it's reasonable.
Well, I think that can come up in our discussion in the second half of the agenda.
I understand their concern, but I'm also understanding that we have to be reasonable with the conditions we keep setting, so.
Any other questions for Jerry?
I just want one comment. The condition that was set calls for vegetative screening in the setback area. You did not define where the setback area is, other than it's 50 feet around the property. So how are you going to differentiate one part of that setback area gets vegetative screening, but another part doesn't?
Well, some of this is a roadway, so we could take some away from this triangle that's on a roadway that already has trees and have them move it over this way. So we could do that. You know, there's a big triangle
I'm just
here, and
making,
move that.
making a point.
No,
You,
that's a good point.
your condition that you set calls for vegetative screening within the setback area at a minimum 6 foot at planting. That's what it says.
Yep.
And that's even excessive over what our standard condition is for B1 design standards, which is 4 feet. So that exceeds what we already have in our design standards for B1.
Which we have the right to do.
Absolutely, Jerry. So we could adjust it, we could take some out of this triangle over here that's really along the roadway and push it over, and then they don't have to disturb the trees that are there.
I believe that's up to the owner to do, come through back with a design showing that, and not our,
There you
not our
go.
issue.
Great idea.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you.
Anyone that would like to speak that has an issue to address other than the things that Jerry has already brought up? Sir?
Scott Bordeaux, 537 Barnum Bay Trail. Regards to the stormwater plan, that's not a stormwater plan. Stormwater plan would show contours, proposed contours. What they're showing is existing contours. So that needs to be shown so you can then define where to put your rain garden. So I asked the commission to consider that option,
Consider that.
to have a proposed stormwater plan.
Across the street then.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Anyone else that has additional comments or concerns other than those that have been brought forward already? Then we're gonna move on. 7C, consideration of the issuance of a conditional use permit for the following purpose: to allow a storage rental building on the property address at 620 State Highway 13, owned by Gillette Holdings LLC, located in the southwest 1/4, northeast 1/4, section 32, town 20 north, range 6 east, town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, parcel number 030-1035. Nick?
This report will be for 7C and D. Applicant Gillette Holdings LLC, doing business as Tri-Lake Storage, has submitted a conditional use permit for the parcel located at 620 State Highway 13, requesting use as a storage rental building. The site is Zone B1, for which storage rental building is listed as a conditional use under 360-78. Additionally, Town Code Article 26 sets forth requirements for the site plan of operation for new business development and associated development and design standards. Included in your packet is the conditional use permit application, site plan of operation application, checklist, associated map and renderings, building materials overview, landscape plan, DNR wetland identification report. A final note that consideration of the site plan of operation will be contingent on the Plan Commission's decision for agenda item number 12. Letters were sent to 5 property owners within 200 feet of the affected property.
Thank you. Is Mr. Gillette here, or a representative?
Yes, that's you. Joe Eichstead, on behalf of Gillette Holdings, Tri-Lake Storage. I could go through a quick.
Please,
So,
please.
The existing site is there's existing storage buildings on the premises. The property owner has plans to install 4 buildings within the proximity of the existing 5 buildings that are already on the site. 2 of the buildings, buildings A and B, they're the 40 by 200 size structures. Those are in the planning stages. Property owner is still evaluating, when those structures would be pursued. However, building C and D, those are, I guess, more immediately in the works for construction this summer.
Could I stop you just for 1 second?
Sure.
I think our dimensions and, of the building stuff, I think we have the letters crisscross or back up. You said the 240 by 200s, we have that listed as building C on our, site plan and plan of operation checklist.
So there is, with the wetland ID, there was some attachments with that. That show some, it's an older, site plan. There should be a site plan though that has building A and B as the 40 by 200.
Yeah, this one here. I know it's in here. Please continue.
Okay. And then, so buildings C and D, those have immediate plans for construction this summer, pending approvals here at this committee and the town board. Building C is a 30 by 108, which it has 9 storage units. And then building D, a 20 by 80 with 8 storage units. The plan is to position those 2 buildings, C and D, in the open space that's already there. It's essentially lawn, mowed grass. So the building footprint, would be installed with limited disturbance to anything adjacent to. Building C is along the north property line. And so a 10-foot buffer around the building for construction purposes. The remaining 10 feet to the property line would be left for vegetative screening and buffer space. As far as lighting, the lighting would just be for security purposes. I didn't have a specific lighting plan included. The security lighting is not meant for nighttime operations for accessing the building, although there is no gated fence around the property. So access for people to come and go as they please. And then lastly, the materials being used would be consistent with the existing buildings that's out there. The two-colored steel paneling, that was also included in the packet. I should reference the wetlands that are on site. We did work with the DNR to ID the wetlands that are out there, and then followed up with a request or evaluation if any of those are artificial wetlands. Portions of them are artificial. The portions that are not, we're simply just working around those, so positioning the buildings away from them, protecting the construction site with erosion, silt fence, and leaving them otherwise preserved.
Okay,
Chair, can I ask a question?
you certainly can, go ahead.
Are we just talking tonight about buildings C and D? You will come back before us for any approval on buildings A and B, or am I misunderstood?
I think the intent would be to hopefully review all 4 buildings at this time, or with this application, and I guess that would be the hope, anyway.
But if we do consider all 4 buildings later in this meeting, do you have any type of time frame on the other 2? Because I don't think we want to leave something open-ended for 2-3 years down the road. I guess would be my question to you.
I don't have, I'm sure the developer owner would have some better ideas, but unfortunately, I don't have any more information to share with you.
And I would like to thank you for the water studies and the flood. It was helpful in the end, in the final conclusion the DNR made.
Commissioners, any other questions or concerns to address with this gentleman?
I have none.
Is there anyone out in the audience that would like to speak either for or against the proposed conditional use permit or site plan and plan of operation for the Gillette storage buildings? Okay, thank you. So, I'm assuming then we've covered C and D.
I would probably read that in.
I will
because
do that.
there may be a comment that somebody wants to
Item
make
D,
to this.
7D, consideration of a site plan of operation for Gillette Holdings LLC for the property located at 620 State Highway 13, located in the southwest 1/4, northeast 1/4, section 32, town 20 north, range 6 east, town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, with a parcel number of 030-1035. Is there any additional questions, comments by the commissioners? Is there anybody that would like to speak either for or against the site plan or plan of operation? Okay. 7E, consideration of the issuance of a conditional use permit for the following purpose. The short-term rental at the property located at 620 17th Drive, owned by David Mehring, doing business as Mehring Vacation Properties, also described as Lot 80 of West Wind Shores, located in the northwest 1/4, northwest 1/4, section 34, town 20 north, range 5 east, town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, with a parcel number of 030-1826-879. Nick?
David Mehring, doing business as Mehring Vacation Properties, has submitted a short-term rental license application and conditional use permit for the property located at 620 17th Drive, requesting use for the 2023-2024 season that ends June 30th, 2024. Letters were sent to 11 property owners within 200 feet of the affected property. The Plan Commission places conditions on conditional use permits issued to short-term rentals that will set maximum occupancy and maximum number of vehicles allowed on the property based on the standards found in Town Code, Chapter 234-61. Staff recommend a maximum occupancy of 8, maximum vehicles of 4 to be parked on hard surfaces, not on lawn grass at the property. The applicant has completed all license requirements, including the property manager within 25 miles on record with the town. And I would just also note that there is a building inspector recommendation in there in the building inspector's correspondence. Building Inspector Hanson notes no use of garage for motorized vehicles until the fire door is replaced and approved.
Is there, Mr. Marion, please, come up, sir.
Dave Marion, present for the property.
Okay.
So the short-term rental, as mentioned, we've gone through all the inspections. It's been pretty much ready for the last couple months. We've been just waiting to get onto the board meeting here. With the January cancellation because of snow, then everything moved into February. We got moved to March. So we're in a wait mode, just getting what read, just need the approvals. And I don't know if anybody has any questions.
Has a fire door been installed?
No, it has not. It is a fire door there. What happened is the previous owner, or the previous owner before that, took off the one label on the door. The other part of the door still has the fire rating, and according to Dan, you gotta have it on both areas. So we have not gone in there and replaced the door yet. Currently, we are not planning on using the garage for that. We're planning on putting a pool table out there. It's a heated garage, fully insulated, drywalled, and we're gonna utilize it as a recreation area versus a garage. If anything of that changes, as I stated in the mail message to Dan, that's on record, we will then go ahead and replace the door if anything does change to that. And the reason why you have to have on both is commercial property. Residential, you don't need it.
Okay. So then this garage or building will not be used for any type of motor vehicle parking or anything?
No, no, and our plans are, is we will have a bolt in the rail on the side of the garage that can't be opened.
Okay.
There is an exit behind it. If there is a case of needing an exit, there is an exit that goes outside. There's also an exit that goes into the house, both directions. So there's two ways of getting out of the garage if something would happen. You don't need the garage doors.
And is there any intent in the future to turn this into any type of living space?
Not at this time. We were considering possibly upgrading, and we did talk to Dan a little bit about that, if we wanted to go a little bit more bedrooms and another bathroom, but that would be a future type thing. There's no plans at this time.
If your door does get replaced to meet the commercial standards for a fire door, then you would have to get that re-inspected, I'm assuming?
Dan said if we go ahead and send the pictures in of the replaced door, along with the labels and everything else, if he has to come out, that's fine. Either way's fine.
Okay.
But yes, we will not use it until we have the door either replaced or our current plans.
Commissioners?
Yeah, one question. I'm looking at your short-term rental application. Property owner mailing address, property manager's mailing address is the same? Am I missing the property manager within 25 miles somewhere, am I?
I'm up here almost full-time, I'm retired.
But
You said almost full-time.
thank you.
Yeah, cause we're looking for somebody that's gonna be available here 24 hours a day should something
Between my
arise.
brother and myself, we're up, my brother also owns property at my lot is 4 down from that location, his is 4 up from that location.
Can you provide us with those addresses and phone numbers?
Sure.
Your address would be what?
Mine's 646 17th. And his, I don't remember off the top of my head.
And your phone number?
262-424-5552.
5552?
That's on the application.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was just looking underneath the phone number. The property manager I just noticed was the same in Sussex.
Yeah, don't
And I
show
didn't think
Sussex.
Sussex was 25 miles from
No, it's
town of Rome.
Okay.
It's a little bit longer.
Any other questions, commissioners?
None.
Bill, Lori?
Remember at our last meeting, we had a stipulation stipulation that if the owner wasn't within 25 miles of the property, he couldn't rent it. Is that germane to this property as well? Both parties?
If the owner,
If the owner is in?
Well-
If both of the managers.
The property manager must be in attendance.
Within 25 miles, the property
Yes.
shouldn't be rented.
right,
That was the stipulation we placed on that one that was
Right.
way back in the.
We should
Should
apply
not
that
be a
here.
stipulation on this one as well?
sure,
Right.
that'd probably be a condition that we place on it, this,
We have to have a condition for the garage
Right.
use also, so.
Yeah, well, the garage is for sure, yeah.
okay, any other commissioner questions or concerns? Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak either for or against this short-term rental? Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Seven F, consideration of the issuance of a conditional use permit for the following purpose. The short-term rental at the property located at 342 Kings Herald Court, owned by Stacy and Mitch Peterson, also described as Lot 22 of Kings Herald addition to Lake Sherwood, located in the southwest one quarter, northeast one quarter, section 16, town 20 north, range 6 east, town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, with a parcel number of 030-2103. Nick?
Stacy and Mitch Peterson have submitted a short-term rental license application and conditional use permit for the property located at 342 Kings Herald Court, requesting use for the 2023-2024 season that ends June 30th, 2024. Letters were sent to 10 property owners within 200 feet of the affected property. Staff recommend a maximum occupancy of 3, maximum vehicles of 2, to be parked on hard surfaces, not on the long grass at the property. The applicant has completed all license requirements, including a property manager within 25 miles, on record with the town. And I would also note again, that there is a building inspector report in there regarding the landing at the stairs and a recommended timeline to resolve.
Okay, is there anybody here to speak? Want to let us know who you are
You're
and,
Mitch and Stacy Peterson,
Okay.
the owners of the property.
and just kind of fill us in as to what's going on, what are your plans, or,
She'll be able to be more defined than I am, but we purchased this property a few years ago. Stacy's a very creative person, and she's in love with A-frames. It's a very small property, as illustrated in the dimensions. So she
It was kind of uninhabited, kind of in.
it was in disrepair. It wasn't a livable property, and so she took some substantial time in designing and decorating the interior. And first timers at this by all admittance, but trying to go through the due diligence of getting this done correctly and appropriately, and through the building inspector. And so that's where we're at now.
I do have one question. I thought we would be able to have occupancy of 4. Is that?
I'm pulling your stuff up.
you know, it's all based on the square footage of the home and
Yeah,
everything.
that's what. Thank you.
There are 2 small bedrooms that have queen-size beds in them.
Depends on the square foot.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Taylor.
No, that's okay.
While we're waiting, has the landing, has that been taken care of up to the
It's
building
just-
code design or standards?
He said we had through April, because no one was anticipating that we'd have such a mild winter. It's cement, so, or concrete, so I have to have everything done.
I
But I'm
see,
in contact
okay.
with the gentleman.
There is a cement slab that's already been installed at the base of the steps, and what he's talking about is the incline that surrounds it, and was recommended that we wait until warmer weather to get that accomplished, which we plan to do within the next month.
Alright, so how I had calculated, it goes by your total livable space. Bathrooms and kitchen are not livable space, so that was not calculated in. So I went by the total square footage of the loft. Bedroom 1, the part that was in the hallway, there was area by the stairs, and then the living room area. When you added all of that up, it was 425.38. And then it goes, for livable space, it's 150 square feet for the first person, and then it goes by 100 square feet for each person after that. So it ended up being, when you subtract all that out, it's all on the drawing here. So it ends up being 3 people at that point. Even though there is, 2 bedrooms, so you could have 4 people, it ends up only at that point, per square footage, being able to have 3.
Does the kitchen table area, does that count for, like, where the little
Yeah,
table?
this is all included in there. This part is all included in there.
Oh,
It's
okay.
just this part
That
where the
can't be.
kitchen is.
Okay.
That's not livable space, and the bathroom isn't.
Okay.
Yep. And this was included in the packet, so
Sure.
you can see how I got that, and I can even show you my personal ones if you wanna
Okay.
know how I got all that
I
too,
appreciate
so,
that, yeah,
yep.
I'll go I'll measure again, but thank you.
Yep.
There's a letter in here from Officer Aldrich of the police department here that there was possibly a violation of renting it without having a short-term rental license, and that there was a citation issued. Has that, everything been satisfied as far as that goes?
Yep.
Okay.
Do we have all
Do we
the
know the date of that action?
I,
It's not on here.
it's not on the letter.
There was no, date. I spoke with Officer Aldridge regarding that because I had seen, like you had said, that there was no date on that. She told me to look in her drive for the CSO drive, and it went off of what date she modified it, which was November 2nd, 2023, and she said that it would have been sent out shortly after that.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, any other questions for Mr. and Mrs. Peterson?
Do we have, well, this is for, Taylor, do we have the inspections we need to, the fire inspection, building inspection, police, we have all those inspections as well?
They have been done and completed.
Okay, I just didn't
They
see
just
the-
weren't included in the packet.
Alright, thank you.
Anything else, commissioners? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm ready to close the public hearing. Is there a motion?
You ask for public,
Is there any public
Public.
comment?
I'm sorry, yeah. Is there anybody that likes to speak in favor of this or against this proposed conditional use permit for short-term rental? Seeing none, then we'll move on to number 8. Close the public hearing.
motion to close public hearing.
Second.
Okay, motion by Jerry, second by Lori to close the public hearing. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, then all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. The next sections are discussion, possible action on the following items. Number 9, discussion and possible action regarding the meeting minutes from Tuesday, February 13th, 2024, and Wednesday, February 21st, 2024. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Motion by Jerry, second by Paul to approve the meeting minutes from February 13th and February 21st. Further discussion? Jerry?
So this is related to the draft minutes. It's paragraph 7, and toward the bottom where it talks about boat launch and parking on map is the county launch. It says the lure owns the one that goes onto the beach. The one Janzik asked about is steep and not used as much. And then in parentheses, it says county-owned one. The county does not own any of that. It is owned by the Wisconsin River Power Company, and so the minutes should be adjusted to reflect that.
I had just gotten that from what Dan Leela had said.
All right.
In the meeting, so that was where I was getting that from.
So, Jerry, you wanna amend your motion to,
I'll amend my motion
Allow
to
that
allow that
change?
correction.
Paul?
And my second, oh,
I think it was Paul.
oh, I'm sorry.
Yep. And I'll agree with that.
Okay, so we have the motion and the amendment. First, we have to vote on the amendment, I believe.
No, not if it's a friendly amendment, you just need to vote on.
Okay. So the amendment is just to change the language in that, in the minutes to indicate that the boat launch, the steep boat launch belongs to the Wisconsin River Power Company. All those in favor then say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 14, discussion of possible action, consideration of the issuance of a conditional use permit for the following purpose. The short-term rental at the property located at 620 17th Drive, owned by David Mehring, doing business as Mehring Vacation Properties, also described as Lot 80 of West Wind Shores, located in the northwest one quarter, section 34, town 20 north, range 5 east, town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, with a parcel number of 030-1826-879.
I can take it.
Okay,
I suggest that, I would forward that to the.
it's just a,
Just a conditional use permit, so that's approved here.
Okay. I suggest that we approve it with the findings of fact.
it's not used for any motor vehicle storage or parking.
The garage, that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, the garage is not used for any motor vehicle storage or parking.
The fire door's replaced, it gets re-inspected.
And when the fire door's replaced, it gets inspected.
And that if, it's ever considered for human habitation, that they come back to the planning commission.
And if it's ever, going to be used for human habitation, they come back to the planning commission. There's a duo here, we did it together.
More about the, sorry, I don't wanna step on it. I don't wanna.
No, that's okay.
And I might add then to his motion, Nick, I'm sorry, that, it not be rented unless Mr. Mehring or his brother are available within a 25-mile radius of the property.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Jerry. So motion by Paul, seconded by Jerry to approve the conditional use permit with the following conditions: that it's not used for any type of motor vehicle parking or storage in the garage, that if the fire door is replaced, it gets re-inspected, that if it's ever considered for human habitation, that they come back to the planning commission, and that either Mr. Mehring or his brother have to be in a 25-mile radius at any time during the property's rented. So the motion is on the floor by Paul, seconded by Jerry. With those conditions, is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 15. Discussion of possible action, consideration of the issuance of a conditional use permit for the following purpose. The short-term rental at the property located at 342 Kings Herald Court, owned by Stacy and Mitch Peterson, also described as Lot 22 of Kings Herald addition to Lake Sherwood, located in the southwest one quarter, northeast one quarter, section 16, town 20 north, range 6 east, town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, with a parcel number of 030-2103. I think I can try this one. Motion would be to approve the conditional use permit for 342 Kings Herald Court with the acceptance of the findings of fact. And they would have the ability to rent it, I believe, Nick, until June first, or indefinitely if the applicant provides a sign off that the landing has been corrected according to building code standards.
So what you're doing is you're adopting the findings of fact as presented with the exception of the term. The term then would be until June first, 2024, or indefinite if they provide adequate or sufficient proof that they had that inspected and signed off on.
Correct.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. Motion by myself, seconded by Bill, to approve the conditional use permit for 342 Kings Herald Court, accepting the findings of fact, and that this would be only good, the conditional use permit only valid until June 1st, or it would be made indefinitely if the applicant provides proof that the landing mentioned by the building inspector has been corrected. Any other discussion?
Can we add the 2 letters that were sent in to the file for concerned citizens of neighboring properties that were not discussed at all?
Okay, we can do that. Any other discussion? Hearing none, then all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Motion carries with Commissioner Gabriel dissenting. Okay, moving up to Taylor, do I want to give you a minute to work out those papers so they can sign and be out of here?
Yeah, it's okay, you can go ahead.
Okay. Then item number 10, discussion and possible recommendation to the town board, consideration of a revised site plan of operation for Heartland Custom Homes Incorporated to adjust building orientation and occupy tenant at the property address at 1144 County Road D, also described as Lot 1, CSM 6905, located in the southwest 1/4 of the northeast 1/4, Section 8, Town 20 North, Range 6 East, Town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, with a parcel number of 030-637-20. Commissioners, discussion?
Need a motion first, don't you?
Yes, you're right.
I'll make a motion, we make a recommendation to town board to accept the revised site plan of operation for Heartland Homes.
I'll second it for discussion.
Okay.
Just
Well-
one point, there is a findings of fact in your.
Oh,
Yes.
including the findings of fact.
Okay. Motion by Jerry, seconded by Lori to approve or recommend to the town board the site plan and plan of operation for Heartland Custom Homes and accept the findings of fact. Discussion, please.
Yes, I think there should be some additional findings of fact. First of all, referring back to the initial ones, just a reminder that any proposed tenants must come before the Plan Commission for approval prior to occupancy. Refuse containers should be included for those additional tenants, as the one included on the current site plan of operation is only for the current, the owner. Exterior lighting and signage plan should come back to the Plan Commission. As they do have one for on their door, but they were talking, the one they have right now in front of the building is only for commercial lease space. And on their site plan, they only have, let me just look back here a minute. Yeah, they only have a temporary one, but they talk about parking lot with 4 poles, but they don't talk about exterior lighting on the building, so we would need a more comprehensive plan, I think, for lighting on the buildings. They did provide a landscaping plan, but conversation came up about, retention ponds and I don't know, that's all we've ever seen for retention ponds. We've never really gotten that deep into retention ponds. I know they're designed at the time. So I don't know, are we gonna do that with this one as well? That's my question to the rest of the commissioners. That's the way we had them in our own town center on our plan as well. So, for landscaping. Yep, for the landscaping was circle drawn for a retention pond.
I guess I have some concern with the parking lot layout and no landscaping at all in there, all asphalt and concrete.
Can I just, may I finish, please?
Oh, I thought
Tom?
you were.
No, I had
I'm
a
sorry, I
question.
thought.
No, that's
With the
okay,
long
Tom.
pause, I thought you were done.
No, I had a question for everybody about the retention ponds and the landscaping as one of the conditions.
I'm not familiar if there's anything in our code regarding,
Retention ponds, that, you know, that comes with stormwater
Right.
management, so this is a little different, but just bringing it up for, but as far as the land, do we have anything in our code, Nick?
So remember, this is in gateway overlay, so it has a cross-reference to our Rome Town Center design standards, and I believe we do have landscaping requirements in the
Correct.
Rome Town Center section.
So I'll elaborate and go a little further and say that, the landscaping and sign plans should come back according to our district, our Gateway Overlay District town code. And not to the plan commission, but when they come before the town board for final approval, to save them time, cause they're already running a little late due to the weather. I wanna get going here,
so you're indicating that if they can show those new conditions that you've mentioned, that they can go directly to the town board and not
Correct.
go through us,
correct.
okay? Tom, you had something.
No, I'm good.
Commissioners, any other concerns or discussion?
Mr. Chair, just
Nick?
one question, cause it came up at the public hearing. For the proposed condition that any proposed tenant, must come back for the plan commission approval, there was some discussion about what that would what that would encompass as far as an expectation to come back to you. Would that then include, requiring the design plan for the interior of that building?
Wouldn't that fall under
In
revised?
other words, are you
Mr.
approving
Chairman.
the use, or are you approving the actual design at the interior of the building, because this is not really designed out at the inside of the building? That's what I'm getting at.
I don't know that we know how the inside of the building is gonna be separated based on whoever may take occupancy in there, so we don't know what size space they're gonna use.
That's exactly right, so
Which is why it
that's
should
why
come
you
back.
would have that as an expectation, so you would see it at that time, because you don't have that information.
I think that's a important issue that should be brought back to the planning commission. Is there any other discussion on that particular issue? Okay. So the motion is on the floor by Jerry, seconded by Lori for discussion to recommend to the town board consideration of the revised site plan and plan of operation for Heartland Custom Homes Incorporated.
Still in discussion here?
Sure.
I'd like to, we have a lot of concrete and paving and no trees between the buildings or around the buildings. I believe in B1, there is some landscape requirements due to the number of parking spaces.
That's why I said according to the district, the Gateway District overlay. It has to comply with the Gateway District overlay for
The
B1.
landscape
The
design.
landscape plan.
That's
Right.
what I said,
Okay,
Yes.
then we're good.
that we're
good.
covered.
Then we're good. Sorry.
That's okay, good clarification.
So those are all conditions you want put on the findings of fact?
The additional considerations, right? It was the proposed tenants would come back to the planning commission with both a design plan as well as a plan of operation. That if additional refuse containers would be,
Per unit would have to come back.
would have to
as
come
their
back for
site
with the plan.
of operation.
that exterior lighting and a lighting plan would come before the board. That is a sign plan would come before the board, and then that that was it. That should all be incorporated before it goes before the board.
Let me just ask a question of the other commissioners, please. With the temporary sign that they have right now because they're leasing, and they have a sign on the only door they have because it's due to their occupancy, maybe it's premature for them to have their sign plan ready at this time to come before the town board. So maybe,
That's correct.
yeah, so well, it's just a question, Jerry, so it's conversation. So how could we modify that? We wait until they have more tenants. So what would be the correct way to do that? Once they have more occupants, we do it per occupant then.
That would sound right.
Once they come up with a more permanent sign, once their retail space is all leased out, then that's when we would do it. Correct?
Talking about the road sign?
Yes, correct. Their permanent sign out on the road, when would we want that completed?
Well, I guess I would wonder then if the sign that they are going to post out by the road, and I think guess kind of where you're going, do we
Right.
wait until they see if there's any more occupants, where everything is put on the same sign?
Right, cause then it gets into that square footage issue we've had with other buildings in the Gateway District. Yeah, so wait until they have more and they can come.
They have to come back for a sign permit to do that.
Yeah, exactly, so then
That's
come,
when it would be covered.
yeah, so when they come back to us for a sign permit, we can cover it then. Kenny, you wanna scratch that out in
Yep,
there?
scratch it out.
Alright,
I can read what I
Also-
got.
Please.
thank you.
Alright, I've got 4 conditions that were discussed. One is any proposed tenant must come back for plan commission approval, including the design, plan of building interior and plan of operation. That refuse containers shall be provided for any additional tenant. That exterior lighting and landscaping plan and parking is what I had heard, go before the town board. And then a signage plan come back to the plan commission for approval at the sign permit.
So I modify my motion to include the findings of fact with those additional conditions.
Well, parking is in the Gateway town, so that's right. So it'll be covered before we come to town board.
Right.
So do you want to second the amended motion?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the motion has been made by Jerry, seconded by Lori to approve the findings of fact as well as the conditions that were stated by Town Attorney Flanagan. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And number 11, discussion of possible recommendation to the town board, consideration of a site plan of operation for Barnum Bay Beach and Marina LLC for the property located on Archer Lane, also described as Lot 1, CSM 4670, located in Government Lot 2 of Section 28, Town 20 North, Range 5 East, Town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, with a parcel number of 030-408-15.
I'll make a motion to not approve the site plan of operation for Barnum Bay because it is not complete.
Second.
Okay. Motion by Tom, second by Jerry to disapprove the site plan and plan of operation for Barnum Bay Beach and Marina LLC. Is there further discussion?
Yes.
Please.
I think we should discuss it a little bit more, just to go through some of the topics as to why it's not complete and how we could. Finish this up.
My biggest reason for saying it's not complete is
Right.
the sanitary sewer situation. What I remember from the last meetings were all campsites would be full hookups. So if they cannot comply with that, so be it. But what we're looking at right now, I have a hard time approving. The other thing I see on the site plan is I see a lot of green dots around Archer's Way. Some of them are round and some of them look like a bicycle wheel spokes. I don't see a key to tell me what they are though, unless my glasses are not working. I'd like to know what is going in there. I see a lot of circles in, call them bicycle wheels with spokes on them, but I don't know what they are. Those are my main two reasons. Oh, those are palm trees? They won't do too well here.
I think we also talked about extending, the tree line down, so that would be into lot number 1 here. Am I correct, Jerry?
Yes,
So that there's a
south
buffer.
side, south side of lot one, yes.
So that there's a buffer for the condo association?
We've had no plans for the buildings either, or even sizes unless we, oh, I guess there are sizes on here, okay.
But again, if we go, the,
Office and shower house and laundry room, restroom.
Now, are we talking like a little bit of an architectural rendering plus a floor plan?
Well, a floor plan anyways. You would- Right now, it's just a shell that they're
architectural rendering. But
architectural design and rendering, yes.
I think that would be important.
I think that was said, but
Was it?
I believe so.
That's the plan
They're
from the
saying-
last meeting.
Okay, was it in?
You just moved them on the site.
Correct, we just showed
Okay.
its location.
Those were different sizes back then too.
Well, you said the last one was too small, so this one is the shower house, or the pump house, shower house, and the office, all in one footprint. But it's the same building for the rest. I can smush them together and send it to you again, it's fine.
But in B1, it also has a minimum requirement of a building width of 24 feet, so then I'm a bit confused again.
Well, that's why they, those buildings would not comply. That's why,
Because we have a 10 by 15, 24 by 30, and
10 by 15 does not comply.
so that would have to be increased to 24 wide.
Was that brought up in the last meeting, when you were asked us about it?
Excuse me, sir? I didn't hear.
So was it brought up in that meeting?
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was,
That was-
because I said we ran into this with the greenhouse that was 21 feet wide. We have to have 24-foot wide in B1. I did bring it up. I don't know if it was the last meeting and the one before, because those two meetings sort of merged together on this plan
right.
commission.
Understand.
So I'm not sure which one, if it was the first meeting or the second meeting. We're at the third meeting now, but I believe I brought up the criteria of the 24 feet wide at that point too, and max building height of 35 feet, which isn't an issue. The issue is if we start allowing all these buildings to come in less than 24 feet wide, we're opening up a can of worms again.
That's in the code, in the town code, so it's all there under B1. We're not coming up with anything new, it's there.
Yeah, I'm not trying to pick on you guys or anything. 360-79, it's the town code right there. So all we can do is apply what we read.
So 24 wide, and is it 24?
It would have to be to my understanding, how I'm reading the code is the building width minimum of 24 feet. So my understanding of it would be 24 by 24 would be the smallest building. Because otherwise you could say, well, that's the length, not the width. So I think the point of the requirement was to have no building smaller than 24 by 24.
If it's attached. Is there a difference if it's attached or detached? Because if it's attached to the already existing, shower house, you already have the 24 feet. Now you're just adding an office structure adjacent to it or attached to it.
That's what we fixed.
It's not detached,
Right.
correct? It's one.
If it's detached, yes.
It is that's what I'm asking, is
We
it
could
detached
easily
or not?
make it attached to make it all one 24 by 24 square.
And that's, if it's attached, then it's not an issue.
I'm just going off the measurements we have on the drawing that we were given.
Well, so am I, except that if it's already attached to the 24 foot, you've already reached it. And the addition of the office is excess. Doesn't say the whole, as long as you've got 24 feet, right?
Right, no,
And if this is attached, then it's a non-issue.
right, exactly right.
Yeah. We thought it fit with what you needed because it was all one structure with
That's what I'm getting at.
geography. I thought it worked.
Jerry, we had a discussion about the septic and testing and that kind of thing. And, do we wanna put something in on that?
Well, they have to come back with an approved plan, and that would include septic location and size and so forth.
Okay.
I mean, all we're doing now, the motion is just to not accept this as a approved plan.
Just wanna make sure we get it in there.
I think they know that.
Yeah, should all be in that,
They know that can be done without cutting the road in if they wanted to.
I just been going by what Garrison's telling me, not when I'm making it up. Garrison can't get his equipment in the surrounding area because of the thick brush.
Well, there are people that have equipment to go back in there. It's not that dense back there.
commissioners? Any other issues that you wanna bring up at this point? I know a lot was discussed. A lot was discussed. Is there
yeah,
other issues that you wanna bring up?
Well, I had,
You wanna bring them up?
I'm just gonna table it, I had a list of other things here, but
Okay. Well, there's been a motion by Tom and a second by Jerry to deny the recommendation to the town board of the site plan and plan of operation. We've had some discussion. Is there other issues that we need to discuss before we take a vote on this?
Mr. Chair, I do
Nick.
have just one question, more of a procedural one. Remember that this is a recommendation, one way or the other, to the town board. And so I wanna make clear, make sure that we're clear on what that motion is. Are you recommending denial, so this goes over to the town board for their ultimate approval? Or are you denying it at this time, tabling it until they get you a complete campground map?
That was my intention. Table it until they come back with a approved plan, a plan that we can approve. And not,
What was your initial motion?
That was my understanding of my motion that Jerry
so now
seconded.
you're saying your motion was to table it, cause that's
well,
what you
deny it
originally
at this
said.
point.
You said
Deny it as a plan commission.
Okay, you said deny.
I didn't say recommend to the town board, I just said deny it.
Okay, that's different than tabling it, so you need to be clear what
Okay,
you wanna do. Because if you're saying table it, then we can add other conditions on there. So please be clear.
I don't think we need to add any more. They have been told pretty much what they need to do here, what needs to be included.
We could be more clear by adding other things that they could do to help the situation, or you wanna deny it completely, what do you exactly, cause if you say table it, like you said, either you're denying the recommendation or you're gonna,
I was denying it as the plan commission with no recommendation to the town board. That we deny it until they can come return with a acceptable plan. So if you wanna say table it, I guess I can, whatever's technically right by your standards.
or not, I'm just asking you to
Nick,
clarify your motion.
what would be your suggestion?
It sounds like this would be to not approve the site plan of operation and table until a complete campground map is received.
Correct.
Lori?
That's,
For our discussion.
again,
Yep, I'm fine with it.
Wrote down as you were saying.
Then I have some things I would like to discuss.
Okay.
All right,
You have
so
the floor.
then they need to update their stormwater map with approval from the Adams County and Ripco, so it's clear for us. A complete parking plan and lighting plan according to the design standards of the town zoning code. as required by the state. There is no such thing as Wisconsin Department. Sadly, our form is outdated, which we do need to update it. There is no more Wisconsin Department of Commerce. There's only a U.S. Department of Commerce. So they'll know what permit to get, cause they're already working on that, I believe. Fill out the rest of the form like you did it the first time, so get those items that you need on your form, please. And then prepare and complete the submittal and correct all the documents and maps as needed. I believe we did have a list of all the owners of the abutting parcels. And the parking plan, I would think would include an understanding of exactly, what your plan is for overflow parking when you do have events like you do now. I'm sure you deal with overflow parking for all the other events you have.
That they have
When we're there in the summertime, correct? And then as far as short-term rentals go, they would be treated the same as other short-term rentals across the town. There was a question regarding short-term rentals, so I don't think we need to make any additional, requirements for short-term rentals. They would follow the town code for short-term rentals. And signs would be, a sign plan and a permit would be submitted and follow town code per 360-131. And I think I did say a lighting plan according to our design standards for B1 as well. That would complete the entire, cause the conditional use permit was previously approved, so that would complete the entire packet and correct the other documents for submittal.
Okay. Can you just add a landscape key to let us know what the trees and shrubs are going into it, Lori?
I
That should be-
think I know that little green circles and things mean trees, so,
Oh.
if they wanna adjust it accordingly to move trees from over in this little corner into that outlot, I'm fine with that, so if you wanna adjust it, that's up to you.
I'll ask for identification chart of the trees that are gonna be planted, what species, so we have an idea what's gonna be planted.
I know that there's a,
And then I would also add, if you made something about short-term rental, there is no short-term rental involved in a campground. They're gonna bring their own unit, they're gonna pay a rental fee for it, to use the spot. There'll be no room tax collected, so I'm not sure where the short-term rental.
Well-
It was brought up in one of the emails.
Only if they go to the cabin.
I could,
There's no cabins, we're not even talking about it.
it means there's no short-term rental unless they have a structure that'll meet our requirements for short-term rental. So that,
Okay, got it.
it's just a,
I just brought it up to address
Right.
it, cause it was
Yep.
a concern brought up, so.
Right. trailers will not meet short-term rental requirements, so.
Oh, and one other one, if you wanna bring back the plans that you had drawn out to show the building sizes, so people clearly understand they were in the previous packet, how those are gonna attach and be laid out,
we have that box of finishing materials.
that would be great. Now, do we want that to come back to the plan commission, or can it be referred, or do you want it to come back here?
That's come back
I
here.
think it needs to come back here.
Okay.
Don't we still gotta take a vote here?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Now, I took a lot of notes, Nick. I don't know if there's anything that you need to reiterate is based on what Lori brought forward.
I think I got it.
Okay. So, motion was made by Tom, seconded by Jerry, to deny the site plan and plan of operation, and when the conditions are completed that have been mentioned to be corrected, that they come back to the planning commission for an additional review. That sound about right?
Sounds about right.
Or fine, okay.
Is there any other discussion? Okay, starting on my left, a roll call vote.
Campbell, yes.
Oh, Jemai, yes.
Baker, yes.
Janzik, yes.
Gabriel, yes.
Weisinger, yes.
Okay, the, motion carries. Item number 12, Discussion of possible action, consideration of the issuance of a conditional use permit for the following purpose: to allow a storage rental building on the property address of 620 State Highway 13, owned by Gillette Holdings LLC, located in the southwest one quarter, northeast one quarter, section 32 of Town 20 North, Range 6 East, Town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, parcel number of 030-1035.
Just a quick reminder, both this and the next one will have a findings of fact. Just a reminder that we have actually two.
And just to clarify, if a motion's made to approve, we're approving all 4 buildings, or are we approving the 2 that are ready to go?
So remember, one is for use and one is for site plan of operation. I would say if you had some clarifying point for number of buildings or when that would need to come back before you, that would be part of your site plan of operation approval. Again, one's use and one's actual operation.
You want a period of time?
Well, conditional use permit has a duration. It's drafted as indefinite, but again, I don't think that that's what Commissioner Gabriel was necessarily asking about from the standpoint of term of conditional use permit. I think Commissioner Gabriel was asking about the concerns that were brought up during the public hearing about time to actually construct those other buildings.
I'll make a motion that we approve issuing a conditional use permit for the purposes of allowing storage buildings, rental buildings on the property at 620 Highway 13 South.
Adopting the findings of fact.
And adopting the findings of fact, excuse me, yes.
Motion been made by Jerry, seconded by Lori to approve the conditional use permit for the storage rental building on the property at 620 State Highway 13, and adopting the findings of fact. Further discussion?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I think that if this motion's for all 4 buildings, I think it should only pertain to this owner. If he sells the property, I don't think should transfer to the next owner. So if we put a 24-month term on A and B to be started for construction, possibly, or can we put something that this is for, because if he turns around and sell it, we're selling off plans to a new owner that we've approved, and I have a little bit of a hesitation there, knowing how things sell.
That should be under the site plan and not under conditional use, I believe.
Well, you've named 2 different things. And not to make this more confusing, but one of those things I think is potentially a term that you would put in the conditional use permit. If you were putting in place, instead of indefinite, that it would run, that it would instead be just for this applicant only during the duration that this applicant owns the property. That would be perhaps a conditional use term. If you have terms that you want to put in place for construction of certain buildings or requirements that it come back or something else, that would be site plan of operation.
I don't know if we want to limit this to the current owner as far as the conditional use, because the property is for rental storage, and so then he couldn't sell it without somebody coming back and getting another conditional use, correct?
That's what you would be doing.
Any other discussion? Then a motion has been made by Jerry, seconded by Lori, to approve the conditional use permit with the findings of fact, and that it only applies to the current.
I didn't accept that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That was not in my motion.
Then I misunderstood.
Can I stop before you read? Correct me. Okay,
ahead.
I can't?
We're still on
He didn't read it.
no.
He didn't start it yet. But the conditional use for self-storage just transferred over to the new owner. When we approved there was already self-storage on this property. So once you approve the conditional use permit for self-storage, Gillette can sell it to another person. We cannot pull the conditional use permit and tell them to take down the buildings. So that's where my confusion's coming in.
I think part of the issue was, I don't know that this ever came for a conditional use
Right.
permit in the past.
Same owners always had it for a long time.
Yeah, it was sold, somebody had to approve the buildings going up there sometime in the town of Rome.
Nope. That's why, to be legal now, he's gotta get a conditional use.
Okay, so I misunderstood. He's here for his original conditional use permit.
Right.
We're not onto the buildings right now then.
Right.
Okay. I still rent from the guy. I got a unit down there, so.
I don't think we should put a term on it.
No, not in the conditional use, I was thinking of the buildings.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mike. Sorry to interrupt.
It's okay.
I didn't realize there was never one on this property.
Correct me anytime I'm making a mistake, please.
I'm not saying you were making a mistake, though.
I do.
I didn't realize there wasn't a conditional use already on this property.
I figured that out real quick.
So we're basically just voting on the conditional use permit, period.
Right.
So the motion has been made by Jerry, seconded by Lori, to approve the conditional use permit for this storage rental building. Any other discussion?
No.
Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 13,
Now, Tom.
discussion and possible recommendation to the town board. Consideration of a site plan of operation for Gillette Holdings LLC for the property address of 620 State Highway 13, located in the southwest 1/4 northeast, 1/4 section 32, town 20 north, range 6 east, town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, with a parcel number of 030-1035.
Yes, am I correct? The findings of fact were only for the conditional use.
There's the findings of fact in there, I believe, for the, site.
You're right,
plan of
you're right. I
operation.
found them. Never mind. I found them.
Tom hit his question limit for the day.
Too much paper.
I guess I'll put it on you again.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve,
Recommendation to the town board.
recommendations on the board to approve. Gotta word it right now,
Site
sorry.
plan.
The site plan and plan of operation for 620 State Highway 13. With approving buildings D and C to be built with a 2-year contingency on buildings A and B, or they have to come back before the plan commission. If that
Yeah.
works with legal counsel.
I'll second that.
Okay, the motion has been made to recommend to the town board approval of the site plan and plan of operation for 620 State Highway 13, motion by Tom, seconded by Jerry, with the accepting the findings of fact with the conditions that buildings D and C be approved. And
C and D.
C and D. C and D.
yeah, or D and C, okay. C and D be approved, and that their buildings A and B have to be constructed within the next 2 years, or they have to come back to the planning commission for an additional site plan, plan of operation approval. I think.
I think you got it.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Nay.
Nay. Okay, so motion is approved with Commissioner Jamadi voting in the negative, or dissenting. I think I got everything. Dates and times for future agenda meetings. Anybody have agenda items for next month? I'm assuming that you'll have whatever we're maybe looking for.
We'll have it.
Okay, so we'll look at having Barnum Beach and Marine on the agenda for next month. Taylor, do you have any short-term rentals or anything that you're aware of?
There will be one that I know of for sure, but that's it at this point.
Okay. Commissioners, anything else that,
Yes, I would like to bring up a suggestion that we establish a policy that all support documentation has to be turned in within 48 hours of the, 72 hours of the plan commission meeting. Otherwise, it cannot be accepted by our staff. 'Cause we need to have some time to review this stuff, not today. Some of the, one plan came in an hour ago, hour and a half before the meeting.
It includes emails too. Emails, letters, petitions, all that kind of stuff. You can't just get
Anything
this
that would be
like
part
an
of,
hour before the
anything that
meeting.
would be part of the packet.
Anything that's part of the packet, yes, should be here 72 hours prior to the meeting time.
Well, when does the packet get completed? Is that when the packet gets, it should be available when the packet is ready to be completed?
Well, that's when, if you wanna do it when the agenda goes out, she's posting agendas way too far ahead
No,
to
well, I
do
didn't
that.
say agenda. I said when the packet is complete. Do we have a standing issue of when that packet is complete?
Since I've been assisting with it, that standing timeline has been a week before your meeting.
Then that should be the, then that
When
should
the
be the
meeting is-
standard. If
is
it's not
timing
submitted
up
by
to-
the packet time, it doesn't get included.
I would
Okay.
Which I think is pretty great, because it used to be we weren't getting them till the Friday before a Tuesday meeting, and we had a lot of documents to go through,
Well,
so.
now we get them an hour before.
Well, some of these paper, yeah, well, and
Yeah.
emails and stuff, and then that's creates a nightmare with records and everything.
It doesn't stop anybody from presenting anything the night of
No,
the meeting.
I don't have a problem with a week, that's even better.
If they want us to read
It
it.
does say in our 200-foot notices that go out that any, thing that can come in for citizen comments on agenda items, that they have until noon the day of a public hearing.
See, so we're gonna have to look at
Then we
that
have to,
document.
then we have to live with that.
Well,
Put it on
That's why,
discussion.
that's what I was
That
asking.
would be public comment. Those would be things that would be received and provided to you all. These, I was hearing you say things that are supporting documentation for agenda items.
agendas?
Right.
For
Yeah.
the
Such as-
agenda item,
Yeah,
correct.
So I think that can be, we can implement that.
I would agree. We'll take it up an agenda item next month, but I
Do
think
you
Bill has the right idea.
want that as an agenda item?
I think we can,
I think we need
do we
to,
need to? No.
we don't need it as we can just decide that.
Tell me what you want.
Taylor?
For a future agenda item, there is also is a zoning map amendment that will be for the April Plan Commission meeting as well. It is, located over on Eighth Avenue. It's a small parcel of a R2 and an R4. I have the application already, he just, I have the information, but
Okay.
it'll be on the Plan Commission meeting for April.
And we'll have a preliminary plat.
Plat map.
Yep.
That'll be submitted.
And we're also reviewing, Sand Valley subliminary, Nick and I will be reviewing some information from Sand Valley as well, and looking at possibly getting that on for April as well.
Okay. Anything else from anyone? Hearing nothing, then item number 17, the next meeting date and time is April 9th, 2024 at 4:00 PM. And I'll declare the meeting adjourned at 6:20 PM.